right, positive energy all the time. Let's get it going. Rep your city, rep your city. We got San Jose here. Shout out to all my mod and wrenches. We got North Miami Beach in the building with the beautiful and gorgeous April. Ooh, cutie pie. I got my brother Azim over here holding down the fort, making sure y'all stay in line. And somebody that knows all of this history that I be talking about. All right, I'm representing Chicago. Shout out to everybody on Facebook, Kick, Twitch, YouTube, and of course my other Facebook, my brother Space Time, who's heavy into music and is a producer. I gotta get a track from you, bro. I was representing North Carolina. If you are a producer and you're one of my subscribers, reach out to me specifically on Instagram. I need to get a track from all of my subscribers and support them financially and put them on my album, which is going to be happening any day now. I'm going to probably do my first single. I'm going spontaneous. I got Pottstown in the building. Pottstown, PA. So I'm talking about music. I'm going to be interviewing a brother by the name of Dewan. And Dewan is what I consider a music expert. I found Dewan searching reparations. And so I guess YouTube kept suggesting them to me. So I thought I was subscribed to him. And then he came across my Instagram. And when I went to my YouTube, I found I wasn't subscribed to him. So I subscribed to him. I follow him on Instagram. And Dewan is always talking about music history. And he's one of these music historians that really dig into the facts. Me, I'm just a music historian just from being there. So I'm going to be interviewing him this upcoming week. We haven't set the day. We were supposed to do it last week. Both me and him, we kept running into issues. I can't wait to interview Dewan. I'm going to be trying to get him over here. I'm going to be trying to get on his live so we can debate music and talk about music, because he's really informative with a lot of the details. And he stayed updated on the music I was listening to after I wasn't no longer following or listening to that particular type of music. I changed my type of music quite a lot. Once I got to a certain age, I switched over to reggae. So I would say like from 1979, 78, 79, I went over to reggae. I did reggae all the way up to late 80s. I was still heavily reggae, but I was beginning to pay attention to rap, mainly with the LL Cool J Kumo Deef battle, because I worked for a telemarketing agency, and the young brothers and sisters there, they was playing it at the job, and they was debating over the battle. I really got into it and enjoyed it. And I lived out there. I lived in LA, so Eazy-E was bigger than life. So that's how I kind of transitioned. And then By the time I got back to Chicago, you got, of course, David the Damager, you got KRS-One, you got Poor Righteous Teacher, you got Public Enemy, and all of those. So that's when you go through the black conscious rap, which I listened to and really liked. But from the time I was in LA and got stabbed and came out to learn how to walk again, and in Chicago, I was turning into somebody else. So I started floating over to more gangster music. As a matter of fact, my favorite rap video was Rakim with the Tommy gun and Eric B. Him and Eric B. And I started going that way, and I got heavy into rap, although I was still heavy into the conscious rap. But I was really just a baby. I was born again, basically, after I got stabbed. That's my bite. My book's going to talk about all that. I'm going to go into that. But so as my new life started to grow, I became darker and darker. I end up a serious criminal. And so musically, that switched me to, listening to more criminal type music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the 10 crack commandments. 1, So I kind of switched. Reggae was going dancehall that I didn't really like too much too. Super Cat was all right, but it was going too much dancehall. I didn't really like that. Shabba. So reggae started to fall off, dancehall started to come. So, I'm listening to, Jay-Z. You can't knock the hustle, and I'm going in that direction. But I always have people complain about the music, and now I'm coming from a different angle because I've been thinking about it, and people always complain about the music. They always say the government got involved in all that. But that's not really true. And thinking about it, I'm going to tell you one of the main reasons the music could not stay conscious. It was impossible. It was impossible. And still today, it's impossible to bring back conscious music with the state of Black Americans. It's impossible. Because Black Americans are not conscious. And so the idea that you want to bring back conscious music when you're totally unconscious is ridiculous. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's the fact. You're not conscious. You're totally unconscious. There's nothing conscious about you. So let me break it down, okay? Hold on to your seats. Here go Bad Pharaoh. Bad Pharaoh. Here I go. Here I go, White Flames, on my BS. Here I go. But I tell you something. This is the last time you want to see a bad guy like me. You see? They come, they see me, they say, there he goes. There he goes right there. There goes the bad guy. So this is the last time you're going to see a bad guy like me. I'll be the bad guy. But I thought about this, and this is absolutely true. Now, let me break it down. let's go back. So I'm a child coming up. I like to give you paint the whole picture. That's why people watch me. And I'm coming up. My parents got a stereo in the basement. They got a speaker upstairs. And they, every time somebody come out, they say, Michael, go downstairs and play some records. Because I really like to play my parents' records. I'm a baby. My parents got records, 45, right? So my parents got 45, lots of them, right? I wish I still had them. I lost a lot of stuff in the fire at Harvey. So I would be downstairs listening to the records. Like you could tell, I think my mother was buying the records. She was buying the records my daddy liked and the records she liked. Maybe both of them. I'm not sure. I was a baby. But I'd be downstairs playing the records, So, my mother had records like Jimmy, oh, Jimmy Mac, when are you coming back? He called me on the phone like 3 times a day, right? So I'm down there playing those records. We got a speaker upstairs. My daddy got a wire that he can hook to the living room speaker. And when company would come, he'd say, Michael, go downstairs and play some records. And I would go in the basement and play the records. And right then you should have known something was different about me. Because imagine you're a child, you 7, 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, 11 years old. And all the family is over to the house. They're all upstairs in the living room and kitchen. They laughing, having a great time, your cousins, everybody. But I'm in the basement by myself, playing records. I'm down there playing records. I don't want to go upstairs. That's how you know I was a DJ from birth. I've been a DJ. I don't want to go upstairs. I don't want to go to I don't want to go to nothing. I want to play the records and listen to the crowd upstairs in the living room. And I was such a great DJ that I knew everybody's music. I knew my daddy's favorite artists. I knew my mother's favorite artists. I knew my grandmother's favorite artists. As long as I do those favorite artists, everybody else gonna love them because these are the big artists of the era. So I could play a record, and I know my daddy and my uncles and them is loving it because if my daddy like it, his brothers like it, or whatever men like it. So I play a record for my daddy first, like what's a good record? Oh, I've been down one time, and I've been down 2 times, and now I'm drowning. I'm drowning in a sea of love. And I would be listening. You could hear the man upstairs. Oh, again. Oh, yeah. That boy down there playing them records. I said, that boy down there playing them records. And then, my mama up there, I put on, chain, 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 chain of fool. Yeah, and my mama like, okay, girl, hey, right? My grandmother. Then I know my mama's favorite records, my grandmother's favorite records. Here I am, signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. I can hear my grandmama up there. Oh, pluck the chicken. And my grandmother. And I just go around and I just listen to the response. And I stay down there. I don't want to go upstairs. And so as I get older, I start buying 45s myself. A bunch of 45s. I wish I still had all my 45s. They was collector's items for sure. And one day, I'm down at a friend of mine's house, and he plays an album, his daddy's album. See, because we'd be in the basement, we listened to our parents' albums. So one day I was in the basement and my friend, he played Booker T and the MGs. I got the album here. It's the instrumentals, like a jazz group. And he played that Booker T's and the MGs album, and I went crazy. Something about Booker T and the MGs. I still have the album. I don't want to dig it out right now. I don't want to turn my back on the audience right now. So I ran home. Asked my mama, could I have $5 so I could go buy an album? I never had bought an album before. And she said, well, I don't got no $5 for no album. Because, 45s wasn't nothing but like 80 cents, 89 cents. I'm asking for $5. I'm a kid, too. So my mom like, boy, I ain't giving you no $5 to buy no record. I said, come on, mama, come on, mama, come on, mama, please, please, please. She must have seen my desperation and seen out my passion. So she said, okay. She said, you go outside and wash my car and I'll give you $5. Thanks, mama. I took off and I was right back. She said, you ain't washed that car that fast, man. I went out there. I got some bucket with some soap. I threw it on the car. I rinsed it and I ran back in the house. She came out there. She said, this car not clean. Right? She said, this car not clean. Wash my car. So I took a little more time and washed it, but I probably still didn't do good because I need this record, mama, now. She gave me $5, and that's why I bought my first album. And you can see what happened after that. Once I bought my first album, I needed a second album, a third album, and a fourth album. Right? So we're going to get to why conscious music didn't go nowhere. So I get to start buying these albums. Next thing you know, I'm high school, right? Music is popping. Now I'm a professional DJ. I'm throwing parties, I'm throwing parties. When I first started buying all these records, my dad was like, boy, you were just throwing all your money away buying all them albums. When I was like a freshman, boy, throwing all your money away buying all them albums. By the time I was like a junior, my dad like, that boy's smart. Because I was DJ getting paid. I was a professional DJ in the junior year. My dad like, that boy's smart. He started going to get me crates. He started going to give me rollers so I could roll them on, like the forklift. I don't know what you call them, He started giving me rollers. Boy, you hurt your back here. You can roll them in there just like this. He started helping because he said, that boy's smart. Because by the time I was like a junior, I was throwing parties for adults. I was doing adult parties, family reunions, everything. My mother worked for the government. She worked for Selective Service. I think at that time, she had moved to the Veterans Administration, and she was throwing a party at some big room they rented. And they needed a DJ. She told them, my son could DJ. They're like, Bessie, are you sure? Like, I'm telling you, my son could DJ. So my mama come home and say, I want you to DJ this party. We're having a luau. I'm going to decorate it like Hawaii and everything. I need you to DJ. You need to be there so-and-so o'clock. She didn't have to scold me because they already seen I was a professional. So my mama told me she wanted me to do this luau. I went to the record store and I bought a Hawaiian record. She didn't know. I bought a Hawaiian record with all the big songs from Hawaii. So I get down there to Holiday Inn or wherever it was at. My mother's all nervous because her whole job's going to be there. She's like, you ready? You ready? You ready? I'm like, Mom, I'm ready. It's going to be good. So she said, okay, you could probably put some music on now. So when everybody get there, be some music on. And I took out the record and I put it on. And I put it in the record and it say, down, 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 down on the Hawaiian song. My mother was like, no, you didn't. Boy, you was something else. So when everybody came, I had the Hawaiian record playing. I still got that record. I'm a kid now. I'm probably a junior. I went and bought Hawaii's Greatest Sounds. Man, my mother was so proud she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe. She was like, I don't know where we got you from. You was the first person to interview me, Lex. Oh, I think I remember that, Lex. I think I remember that, Lex. Much love to you, Lex. I think I remember that. That was years ago. How you been doing, man? I gotta go follow your channel. So yeah, I remember that. So the music starts to elevate, starts to take off. Groups like the OJs, Parliament Funkadelic, Bootsy, the Isley Brothers was like at the top of the game. You had the Ohio players, but as far as groups, I would say the Isley Brothers was the number one, was the number one black R&B group. And the only reason I say that is because the Isley Brothers was really the only big group that was a band. The other brothers were singers and had to have a band, but the Isley Brothers was actually the band and the singer. The Ohio Brothers was the band, the singer, but the Ohio Brothers wasn't that good live, and the Ohio Brothers didn't have as many hits, big hits, as the Isley Brothers. So I would say this was the greatest black band in R&B history. Ernie Isley was like Jimi Hendrix on the guitar, and the Isley Brothers show was something else. Okay, I seen them at what's the name of that place where they used to have the Operation Push? I seen them there. It'll come to me, and they was, I can't even tell you. It was, I must have seen Isley Brothers at least 3 times, maybe, and they was just, I don't know what, remarkable. At that time, I was going to rock shows too. So I was going to see Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin. So I was going to Lutheran school, and I was the only person at the whole school that could speak for the black music and the white music. So anytime the black dudes and white dudes would get in a debate over who was the best guitarist or keyboard, they would come ask me, because I would be the only one that seen Rick Wakeman and McCoy Tyner. So I'm saying I'm the only one that seen Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath and Stanley Clarke. So I could say this one is the best. My word was like God, right? Because I seen them both. So I was going to all these different, you name it. I seen Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, name them. Who, I can't even name all the bands I see, white and black. And then I see all the black ones. War, name them. I've seen them. You name them, I've seen them. Black or white. R&B, rock and roll, or jazz. So I began to get into that, and I would go see the jazz fusion like Stanley Clarke, right? Only real music lovers know what I'm talking about. And I already know that and got the album. So I would go see Stanley Clarke, Chick Corea, Return to Forever, Frank Zappa, Pink Floyd, they only perform in 2 cities in the United States. My daddy drove me and my friends all the way to Milwaukee to see Pink Floyd. And I was really checking out the jazz fusion. So the jazz fusion would have been the closest thing to what you might say conscious, but they wasn't saying no words, it was just instrumentals. So it would be the closest thing to what you would call conscious music, because it was just music based. And the brothers carried themselves and looked extremely pro-black, like the brother Rashawn Roland Kirk, who was blind and played 2 saxophones at one time, or played a sax and a clarinet. I've seen him live. I've seen Rashawn Roland Kirk live. And you see his album is named Blackness. And it'd be like BLACKNUSS. So listening to this music was driving me into black music was driving me into a black conscious mind state, right? For a long time, because the black music was always pushing that. You know what I'm saying? Way back to when we was a baby. And so the first person that pushed me into this black consciousness was James Brown when I was a little boy, because he was like, with your bad self, say it loud, dun, dun, I'm black and I'm proud. That was my first black conscious song. I loved it so much, I was taking the dance lessons and doing recitals. I ran to Miss Juanita Hamilton, rest in peace to Miss Juanita Hamilton. She would have all us children and young adults, and we would put together a whole show that we would perform once a year at Dunbar High School for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. And this one year I ran to Miss Juanita and said, I want to do Black and I'm Proud. I think I was 10. And she said, okay. And I got on the stage at Dunbar and I did the whole Black and I'm Proud. Boy, you couldn't tell me none. I was like 10 years old. So the music started leading us to consciousness, because this is where I'm showing you about consciousness, black consciousness. So the music was about loving your woman, loving your man, partying, having a good time, and a lot of like black consciousness, right? So like the Isley Brothers, you know, time is truly wasted. Dun, 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 dun. There's no guarantee, right? You got to fight the power that be. Fight the power, right? So we kids, so we picking up this black vibe in the music. Yeah, Operation Push. They was at the no, that's not the amphitheater. Yeah, that might be the amphitheater. Yeah, the amphitheater. The amphitheater was over there by where the stockyards is at, over on Halsted, over that way somewhere. The amphitheater. Because downtown was the auditorium theater. Yeah, the amphitheater. A lot of concerts we used to go to see at the amphitheater. Right? So the music started leaning towards like a black conscious type thing, but also with people like Gil Scott-Heron. The revolution must be televised, you know what I'm saying? Because once you hear that hit record that make it on the radio, then you buy the album, then you get exposed to. So this was like the revolutionary, right? Type vibe, right? They're like revolutionary music, and then that switched over and for me into reggae. So I switched this type of music as I started getting to my 20s. I started getting into the black conscious music of reggae. As a matter of fact, Bob Marley was coming to town and I bought a ticket, but he had cancer. So they had to cancel the show. So then he went and got treatment. Then they said, well, if you turn in your ticket, you can get a ticket to see him now with Stevie Wonder. So I turned in my Bob Marley ticket, which I wish I didn't do. I should have just bought another ticket. I knew he was going to die. I turned in my Bob Marley ticket, and like about 2 or 3 days before the show in Chicago, he passed away. So they made an announcement, and it was like, so it was going to be Bob Marley and Stevie Wonder for the second show. The first show before they canceled was just Bob Marley and the Wailers. But then after he got sick and then they rescheduled, it was Bob Marley and Stevie Wonder. So I turned in my ticket. And then he died. So it became Stevie Wonder and Gil Scott-Heron. And this was my first black conscious disappointment because I went to see Stevie Wonder and Gil Scott-Heron replaced Stevie, and Stevie replaced Bob Marley. So Stevie Wonder and Gil Scott-Heron. Gil Scott-Heron performed first. After he performed, on 43rd and Halsted, after he performed, and just think about it, we kids, and we going down there by ourselves, taking the bus, going down there by ourselves, and driving back. We 16, we driving, something these young people will never be able to do that. No fights, no nothing. So Gil Scott comes on first, and before Stevie Wonder come on, I tell him, whoever I was with, I think I was with my girlfriend. I said, I'm going to go to the washroom. I go to the restroom. I'm in the restroom. Then I'm washing my hands. And somebody comes out the stall. And it's Gil Scott-Heron, one of my heroes. And he's basically a dope fiend. I'm like a young revolutionary. I got my dress. I got my army clothes on. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. I'm going to show you the me that's seen them. I don't want y'all to think I'm playing. So I'm in the restroom. I'm washing my hands, and the stall come open, and Gil Scott come out. And he's a junkie. Right? You know what I'm saying? This me right here. So now this me right here. This ain't little Michaels no more. This big Pharaoh. I didn't legally change my name. I got my locks growing. I'm plant-based, and I'm a real revolutionary. You was one of my idols. Let me just show you. He come out to start, which, to paint the picture, you got to understand how egregious that was to me, because what? We coming up in the 70s, and we seeing the character he playing, we seeing that character in what? Shaft movies, Superfly movies. We seeing the junkie loser, right? Right? When I'm younger, this is in the movies, The Losers. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So we seeing this negative energy in the movie. This ain't what to be. As shorties, we know this ain't it. In the old black movies, the police used to like grab Pam Grier or something and try to hold her in the back of the car and shoot her up so she OD and all that. So a junkie is like, no. Because like when you grow up under abuse, you hate it. So if you grow up under the crack era, you hate it. If you grow up under crack and your mama or that older generation, you'll never touch it. And we grew up under heroin addicts. So that's like a no-no. This is why the drugs keep changing and people keep taking it, because you resist the last drug, but you don't know about the new one. That's a whole nother video. Dude comes out to start. I remember looking at him like this. I didn't even say nothing. I just was looking at him. He put his hand out. I just looked at him. He my elder, so I didn't smack it. And then back in those days, if you was a dope fiend or a junkie, you was dirty. Like you got HIV or something. Nobody want to touch you. We don't know where you been, or you know what I'm saying, where your hands been or nothing. You basically a bum in those days. You was a bum. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, I know you wasn't just on this stage talking about this winter in America. I know you wasn't on the stage, bro. I know you weren't just on the stage. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Scope. I know, bro. I know. That's how I'm looking at him. I know, because he just got off stage. Stevie finna go on. I'm trying to take a leak right quick, bro. I know you didn't just be up on that stage talking all this black conscious revolutionary stuff, and you in this bathroom shooting up, because that's what he was in the stall doing. When you get to talk about conscious, black conscious music, where it's at, that's where it went. That's where it went. People like this killed it, okay? All right? That's where it went. It had its opportunity and it died, right? So there was a pro-black influence in the music, but that got taken over by reggae. So reggae becomes the new pro-black music. Black America's music becomes repetitive. Let's put it like that. They've done all they could do with it. Everything now just, how you going to outdo Aretha Franklin? How you going to outdo the Supremes? How you going to outdo the Temptations, the Miracles, the Four Tops, the OJs? So now you're hitting a wall. You can't outdo it. That's what happened. You couldn't go positive, because when the 60s came out and everybody got black power, everybody grew their afros, and all of your R&B people grew their afros and went black power in the 60s. But in the 70s, they went back to cooning. Yes. Aretha Franklin, afro, next thing you know, perm again. James Brown, afro, next thing you know, perm again. Facts. Right? Right? You take your time and listen. Listen first before you start listening. Let me build. We talk about that. Right? He said the music is trash. Nobody in his family got music classes. I bet none of his children take music classes. We're going to get to that. Because the brother's going to come over and say music is trash. Ask them, how many people are they sending to music lessons? None. So they could shut up. If you saying the music is no good today, and your son, daughter, or no people in your family play a trumpet or nothing, shut up. You're the reason. Yep, shut totally up. Because the people that have come over here now and say that their music is trash. If I lived in an apartment building and I had trumpet lessons and I was playing my trumpet, that same dude would be beating on the floor downstairs telling me to stop. So I would never get to be a good musician with him as a neighbor. That is a fact. That you current generation would not tolerate young people practicing their trombone, their piano, or nothing. That's a fact. You are right now, your generation, right now, the generation right now, our children could not practice their instrument like the elders when we was coming up. When we was coming up, you play your saxophone, neighbors didn't complain. Neighbors didn't beat on the door. Neighbors didn't come to your mama's house and say, tell the baby stop practicing that clarinet, they flute. Don't tell me nothing about music today. It's you. It's your fault. You don't see black children walking home from school with instruments, period. Now, you got to take responsibility. So back to what I was saying. So the music becomes repetitive, right? So it ain't really going nowhere like that because the new artists, they could not do the old artists. So you got video soul and stuff like that, right? But you know, Luther Vandross, I mean, we already had Smokey Robinson. We already had all that. They couldn't find nothing new. They had New Edition, but we already had the Jackson 5. It was just bootleg Jackson 5. That's it. Mr. Telephone. We already seen that. So they tried to redo it for the young generation, but the older generation was still there. And how you going to sell them a remake? You understand? So you begin to have a black conscious music, right? So as you go, right, everybody want to know how you don't got consciousness in the music. You can't have consciousness in the music because you don't have consciousness in the musicians. So let's go back. So we got my mother's generation, them come from the South. They come up here, they start making music. They're making the same kind of music that they was making in the South. But then they get to the point, right, where they begin to like start talking about more consciousness. But this one end up on drugs, right? This one end up on drugs. Now, these my OGs, right? All of them, I ain't got to say their name. They was all dope fiends. I don't want to say everybody's name because that's not the point. But all of your favorite singers from back then, it was all alcoholics and drug addicts. All of them. The females, too. Aretha Franklin took all her clothes off on stage. All right? Fact. This is the older generation. Older than me. So there was no chance for them to push any type of consciousness in the music. So when you say, where's the conscious music, where's it going to come from? From where? Because when the blacks came from the South, they were singing a lot of soul and stuff like that. But when it comes to consciousness, they couldn't cut it. So it's crazy to see people complain that there need to be conscious in the music when Public Enemy had a crackhead on the stage. Dropped a rock on stage. Flavor Flav, drugs fell out his pocket on the stage. So show me any foundation that would build conscious music. I sure want to hear that. When you start to talk black consciousness, you're talking bands. There I go right there with the bass. This was black consciousness. Was there a sound system there? No. No. Sound system was a destruction of black music too. Destruction. Nobody know how to play no instrument. Nobody at the sound system, including the sound man, he don't know how to play not one instrument. All you know how to do is put a record on. You understand? So sound system didn't help nobody learn how to play no music. Reggae did. Reggae taught brothers how to play reggae drums, taught brothers how to play bass. Sound system ain't taught nobody nothing. Earth, Wind, and Fire was positive, but Earth, Wind, and Fire was pushing the occult and witchcraft and demon shit. Earth, Wind, and Fire wasn't pushing no consciousness. Earth, Wind, and Fire was pushing Satanism. Facts. They was pushing the three. They was pushing Earth, Wind, and Fire. No water. Earth, Wind, and Fire was pushing the devil. What was their first big records? In the chat. What was Earth, Wind, and Fire's first big record to hit the radio in Black Americans? What was Earth, Wind, and Fire's first big record, Anthony? What was their first big record that they broke out? Anthony. What was their first big record? Now, you be trolling, bro. If you want to come on and talk, yeah, but you be trolling. I can't listen to you. You be trolling. You're not really trying to have no conversation. You just trolling. Listen, what was Earth, Wind, and Fire's first big single record? When they had the album, it was the girl on the cover. Their first album, there was a female on the cover and a whole bunch of dudes. What was their first big record? Somebody in the chat, I'll give you one more minute to see if anybody, no. Shining Star was later. Their first big record was, Evil, running through my bones, free and evil. Yes, their first big record was called Evil, with the female on the cover. Earth, Wind, and Fire first big record was called Evil. It went evil running through my bones. Look it up. That's when it was a bunch of, I don't got that album. I wish I had that album. Their first big record on black radio was called Evil, with a girl on the cover and a bunch of dudes. Evil. Look it up. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Somebody hated them. Somebody did not like Earth, Wind, and Fire. He used to talk about they were Satanists. The reason you wouldn't know White Flame, because that one didn't blow like that. They didn't really blow till they kind of called, hey yo, when that one came out. That's when they really blew. But Evil was the first one where everybody bought their first album. The song was called Evil. It's called Evil. A lot of them was on the dark side. Rick James, L7. Busting out, I'm busting out. I'm some serious fun. His name was called, Rick James was called Busting Out at L7. What's L7? L7. L7 is not a door, not a square, it's a rectangle. Busting L7 is a rectangle. Busting out, coming out of what? The closet. Busting out. We didn't braided our hair. We don't mind if you stare. That's what he said in the record. I got the album. Don't make me pull it out. Rick James, busting out. Coming out the closet. Coming out the closet. So now you move into the era with Bob Marley. You move into the era of Bob Marley and reggae music. That becomes the powerful music. But the problem with reggae, busting out of L7. Hold on. That's what he's promoting. If you see a man dressed like that today, what is he? Busting out of L7. Look at the women. Those ain't necessarily women. This was the era. This is a fact. L7, busting out of L7. He said, we didn't braid it our hair. We don't mind if you stare. Busting out. And then he came out with Donna Summers, the Village People. We be hanging at the YMCA. Even my daddy, he said, why they keep singing about the YMCA? No, but men. That's my daddy. My daddy, we in the car, and the Village People came on. The Village People came on, and they kept saying, we always hanging at the YMCA. My daddy said, boy, why they keep singing about the YMCA? Ain't nothing there but men. This is when I start growing dreadlocks. This is when I'm out. This is when I'm out. I stop going to the clubs and stuff. This is when I start growing my locks and stop going because it was transforming. It's a fact. It was transforming. As a matter of fact, I used to go to the clubs with somebody I knew from 7th grade, 8th grade, and by then, his cousin would go with us. So I used to go like to the thrift store and buy like jackets and stuff and take them to the tailor and get them altered so it looked like I got on tailor-mades and go get my clothes made and stuff. So it was him, his cousin, they both males, and me. I started growing dreadlocks, so I didn't want to go. And what really threw me off is one time they called me and they was kind of insisting, where I'm at, why I ain't hanging out, and why I don't want to come go shopping with them. And see, that's when I caught it. Because I had went with them a couple times and we had went shopping, but I didn't catch it. But when I started going dreadlocks and putting on military clothes and stopped really wanting to deal with it, they actually called me and was like, why I want to go shopping? And sometimes somebody will say something to you and you'll finally catch it. I was like, these dudes shopping? Because I wasn't really looking at it like that. We was just hanging out, just having to go buy some clothes. But y'all want to go, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Let me show you the one. I got to show you the timeline. This Pharaoh. They told this Pharaoh they want to go shopping. I'm going to show you the exact Pharaoh. This Pharaoh right here. They told this Pharaoh they told this Pharaoh, you know, why I want to come shopping. You can see this when I first dropped out. My locks had just started. I was like, hey, why? Because I started noticing that dudes was coming to the clubs. All the ladies liked them, but the dudes that was all up under all the ladies was gay. I started noticing that dudes was coming. This ain't anti-gay, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I started noticing that the clubs wasn't what they was trying to make it to be. I started noticing that dudes that was coming to the clubs with two women, the women was lovers. And he was gay, but he trying to look like a player. So I started noticing that, right? I worked at a book factory, and there was a dude worked there. His name was Michael. He was older than me, and he had perm and everything, and he used to be trying to walk like he was really so cool, but he was really a girl. He was girly. But I started noticing that they was using their looks not to attract women, but to attract men. Right? So then I lost interest. I'm listening to the music. Men start dressing like Eddie Murphy with the red tight clothes on, start acting like Eddie and Arsenio. Men start wearing like low-cut shoes with no socks on where you can see their ankles, right? You got to understand, I'm born in 1958, so I'm coming up where your parents dressed you strong like a little man. They used to call you little man. Don't call him, you know what I'm saying? Little man. I came up in them days. I came up as a little boy when I'm dressed up and I come out and the lady say, oh, look, he cute. My grandmama say, he not cute, he handsome. I don't know when this first single came out. So everything started to switch over, right? So we're going to get to what I'm talking about with the birth of gangster rap. So a shift started happening, right? Consciousness. So now a conscious shift started happening. Rap started popping off. And when rap started popping off, yes, you got the shorties in the hood, because the boys in the hood is always smart. Talking that shit, we pull your car. But then you got KRS-One, right? And you got the growth of vegetarianism / veganism. So now you got the birth of real consciousness, right? I'm giving y'all the history what happened. So now when you start getting to 80, 81, 82, you got real consciousness in the community. Eat to live. Dick Gregory. We going vegetarian. We not eating no pork. We not eating no dead animals. We not doing that. You got rappers coming. Very few is on that. They pushing black consciousness like Steve Biko. See, because black consciousness is being aware of being African, being black. Consciousness is not black consciousness. Consciousness for blacks is being aware you black, but how you eat, toxins in the community, it's a whole 360. So it started getting to the point where just being black, you ain't getting no credit for that. Steve Biko and stuff, that's the 60s, early 70s. We going into the 80s. We going into what you call higher consciousness. So now you got KRS-One talking about vegetarianism, stuff like you got brothers start wearing their natural hair and stuff like that, and then that's where gangster rap come in, because none of the musicians, not the R&B, the jazz, or the rappers, was strong enough to take on real consciousness. They wanted to eat what they wanted to eat. And you cannot eat like a slave and talk like a revolutionary. That's not going to happen. So what happened is they wanted to pretend and talk different, but be the same person. So you got those of us that's changing. We not the same person. We don't eat the same. We're not wearing our hair the same. We are actually changing, going into consciousness. Then you got those that still trying to talk black, but they not conscious. So how you going to have conscious music when you're not conscious? X-Clan was still on powder. Some of your positive rappers was LGBTQ. I'm not saying that's negative, but that wouldn't have been considered consciousness. So now when you have people talking about the music, they don't like where the music is. My question is, show me, based on how Black people been living, where the music was going to go. Nobody can show me, based on the actions of the Black community, how you could have got any other music but gangster rap and the girly music and Sexy Red. Where's you going to get anything else from? Why is y'all asking for a music that your lifestyle would not produce? The Black American lifestyle would not produce no positive music. From where? That's why I'm confused at. All you gonna produce is hoe music, simp music, and clown. And murder music. I'm trying to figure out how y'all complain about the music when your lifestyle will never create no better music. You still eat pork. You can't even do no Nation of Islam music, and that's low-level consciousness. You still eat pork. So when you go dark like that, you ain't gonna be nothing but gangster rap. I'm trying to figure out what kind of lifestyle did we have that would have prevented gangster rap, that would prevent drill? What lifestyle we had where our children wouldn't be on perks? Because to not be on perks and to not be on pharmaceuticals, you would have to be into clean eating. There ain't no way. There ain't no way you could teach the children to keep their body clean and eat trash. You can't expect your children eating Skittles and nowadays artificial flavors, artificial colors, preservatives, fast food, and you don't want them to be on Quaaludes and Percocets? How? How? Based on what? Based on what are y'all teaching the youth for them to want to be clean? You don't want them on drugs, and your soda is all drugs. How you gonna get a good movie? How you gonna get what kind of music do y'all want from y'all's behavior today? That's what I'm trying to say. What kind of music y'all want? What kind of music y'all want? From where? Like, who gonna produce it? You don't like the music the youth doing today. Okay, who gonna produce something different? Who? Because you don't like this music today, but you can't show me the people that's supposed to make the other music. Don't tell me you want to hear another music. Show me the people that can make it. Show me the people that can make some better music. Because I be outside and I don't see them. All I see is clowns. Not just based on the parents, based on all y'all. Not just based on the parents, based on you too. If I go look in your house, darkness, and I see a bunch of artificial flavors and colors and preservatives, yeah, you a part of it. You ain't teaching nobody nothing. You ain't even teaching them how to read what's in the goddamn food. So it's easy for you to get over here and talk the parents. But I got to come look in your refrigerator. I'm not buying that darkness black. I'm not buying nothing you typing over here. No, from my era, we got to see your refrigerator. I got to really see if you standing on something. I can't go by you just typing. Because you might have a chicken bone in your mouth, practicing witchcraft every time you go to eat. The colonel might be feeding you, and the colonel's a slave owner. Of course, they don't want to say Kentucky Fried. They call it KFC to make it cool, because nobody wanted to be a slave. Nobody wanted to say you eating Kentucky Fried Chicken, so now it's cool with KFC. But if you are what you eat, and you eat chicken, you's a bird. You's a bird. So shut up if you's a bird. How you going to have black people use a full-grown bird? Everything wrong with you. You got high blood pressure, your cholesterol messed up, all the food in the house, artificial flavors, artificial coloring, all that. And you want what? So you want pure music with garbage food. Is that what y'all telling me? That you want to pay attention to the music, but then the plate that you give your children, you don't know what's in the plate, but you want to know what's in the music. So the music is more important than what you feed your baby? Is that what y'all, is that what you can feed your baby anything. Then your baby's supposed to grow up and supposed to be able to make some positive music off of Skittles and novelators? That what I'm hearing? Because I'm trying to figure out where is this music going to come from if your whole body is rotten with chemicals and poison. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Where is this conscious thought going to come from when your whole kitchen is trash? Your whole kitchen is poison. And you're gonna raise your children, you and your queen of children, gonna eat poison all day, and then somebody gonna make some conscious music. You way overweight, talking about this music ain't no good. Go to any of the jails, California, Texas, Florida. Go meet any of the blacks and tell me, with the state of our nation, where are you going to get positive music from when our youth coming up in a very negative situation? There's no positivity nowhere around. And the people that's supposed to be positive is half-ass positive. We got no eating regimen. Because I don't believe you can change any mind state of a people unless you change what they put in their mouth. I don't believe it. I believe as long as people eat bad, they're going to feel bad, they're going to get sick, and their mind going to be limited. You're not going to have a mind to expand to consciousness if you unconsciously are eating. And we know that when you look at the animal world, you know that man is at the top. Man is at the top of all the mammals and all the reptiles. So when a man stoop down and eat a lower creature, how could that man elevate their mind state? When you eating a duck and a bird, bro, you eat birds. You eat a chicken. Chickens ain't smart, bro. You supposed to eat off the tree that grow taller than you, that's get its life from the sun, from the sky. So you're supposed to eat up. You eating down to a lesser creature. And then you want somebody to make positive music, but you done cheapened Consciousness. Because consciousness today is dirt ass cheap. The conscious brothers ain't shit really. They're not even conscious. They just got a conscious mouth. They just be trying to talk. That's why when you go and you look at all these brothers, you'll never see them talking about how to eat. They talk about everything, the molecular structure of the sun, the notes in the music. It's certain notes in the music. Make a certain note and that all that shit. But they never be telling nobody how to eat. You know why? Because if they start telling you how to eat, they lose all their fan base. I'll tell anyone unto their face. All these brothers that's got like followings, that's because they don't insist you eat right. And as long as you allow them to eat whatever they want to eat, they'll follow you. But when you start laying the hammer down, tell them they got to get off artificial flavors, artificial colors, preservatives, no dead animals, no cheese, no dairy, they'll all leave. But if you start talking about crystals and copper and shit, yeah, they'll listen to that because they ain't got to do nothing. You ain't got to do nothing. Pan-Africans is the number one. Pan-Africans is trash. How you going to help Africa? And you eating chickens and shit. And Africa's sick as hell. Africa is sick. Look it up. Africa's about to have the worst cancer rate in the whole world. You know how bad cancer is in Africa? It's to the point where the doctors in Africa say they don't know what they're going to be able to do. Look it up. Cancer in Africa is through the roof. Obesity. Look up obesity in South Africa, West Africa. Look it up. Africa's sick as a dog. Africa is sick. From the east to the west, from the north to the south. Black Africans are sick. Sick. And the ones in the city getting some help, but those that live out in the tribal areas, they just up in huts just passing away, rotting. You know how many Africans right now in Africa is in a hut somewhere dying? Millions. Look it up. That's not even counting the ones that's got poison in from going in their minds, pulling up their minerals without the proper equipment on. Their lungs is black, full of coal, full of dirt, full of aluminum and all the stuff, that all them natural resources, all in their lungs. They ain't got no mask or nothing on. They try to tie a shirt on their face. Africa's sick as a dog. Africa is sick. Black Americans are sick. Blacks in the Caribbean are sick. Black Jamaicans are sick as a dog. Look it up. Black Americans got Jamaicans got a diabetes problem right now because they drink a whole bunch of soda. They ain't drinking no coconuts. They're drinking soda. Look it up. All over the world, black people are sick as a dog. Look it up. Brazil, name it. Europe, name it. All over the Caribbean, the U.S. Look it up. Black people is sick as a dog. Sick. The Black American man, his life expectancy is like 58, 59. He might make it to 60 something. Even me, when you eat right, take care of yourself, the system is so weak, it's toxins every goddamn where. You fighting to stay alive because you just live around losers and sinners and people that don't care. The whole environment is just toxic. Every day we have to eat stuff to constantly clean toxins out of our body, constant. We constantly got to read everything because these people just putting anything in anything. We almost got to make everything from scratch. We can't drink no water. It's full of plastic. All the water bottles full of plastic. They say like at least 100 plastic particles in every plastic bottle of water you drink. They estimate you're drinking 100 plastic particles every time you drink one of them plastic bottles of water. Then you get protein powder. It's in a plastic thing. It's plastic in that. You go search, you want some protein powder in a glass bottle. You have to get the one in a little zipper bag. You got to switch everything to the zipper bag. Because even when you're healthy, they put it in this big old plastic fucking container. Every time you unscrewing that and doing that plastic is leaching off into your protein powder, your creatine, or whatever you taking, plastic leaching all into that shit. The supplements, if you ain't careful about your supplements, you're going to be getting trash. You got to try to find everything glass. Everything we trying to find, you're trying to find glass. Real talk. Consciousness what? If we was pushing consciousness, all this stuff would be being pushed. All this stuff would be being pushed if we was really pushing consciousness. They cheapened consciousness, made it cheap. And that's what started gangster rap and drill music. That's a fact. I hope y'all learn from this. Support the channel. Victory.